Hi, I'm Dave from boyinaband.com and welcome to day 3 of my 7-day studio, where I'll be explaining how to set up a beginner's studio using my heartily jawboned amigo Kieran here as resident noob, so you guys have someone to relate to along the journey. Say something they can relate to, Kieran.
Sometimes I like to sleep in.
Today we'll be looking at the music sequencing software, or DAW. And if you're wondering why that acronym doesn't add up, it's because DAW stands for something completely different. Digital Audio Workstation. However, if your name begins with D, you can pretend it stands for something completely different, like Dave's awesome, woo! If you have really low self-esteem. So the purpose of a DAW, or DAW if you want to pronounce it with less syllables, is to take the audio and MIDI signals that you put into your computer and arrange them into something that will hopefully resemble music. It allows you to process sounds with what are called plugins. It's a software that allows you to process the sounds in all kinds of ways, like reverb, delay, distortion, and everyone's favourite, auto-tune. Most if not all DAWs come with some of these already built in, but you can get lots of new ones for free if you do a bit of googling or look at some of the convenient links I provided for you below. There are also some really good ones that you have to pay for, but that's something you should probably do once you've had a bit more experience and you know what you're looking for. As a beginner, what comes out the box should be fine to learn the basics of producing. Then your DAW will allow you to mix your track with some of the virtual faders it provides for each channel. Once you've recorded, arranged, processed and mixed your track, you can proceed to rip it down and put it on the internet. Then proceed to become a gazillionaire, lose all your friends as a result of your suddenly inflated ego, and finally detach from the real world due to your excessive alcohol and substance abuse. Phew, so that's what DAWs do. Let's take a look at some of the options we researched. Well, there's Pro Tools, Logic, Cubase, Sonar, Ableton, Reason, Reaper, Fruity Loops, Nuendo. Okay, we get it, there's a lot. And there's more than what I said, but I'll stick to the software I actually have some experience with. You bored?
No, good.
You know?
Yeah.
Good. Let's carry on. Pro Tools and Logic are generally considered to be the industry standard by most professional studios.
But they can cost quite a lot.
Cubase, Sonar and Nuendo are generally the kind of next level down, used a lot in home studios and the smaller studios. Fruity Loops and Reason are geared more towards electronic music making, but can deal with audio these days, if you're dealing with Reason 6 onwards. Ableton is a cool one if you want to do electronic music live, since it has some really cool functions allowing you to switch between sequences on the fly and mix up your track as you go. So Kieran, ideally, how much do you want to spend on your DAW?
Ideally £0.
Spoken like a true musician. Fortunately, a lot of bits of kit, like your sound card for instance, will come with a light version of a piece of software. Ours came with Ableton Live. Why don't you install it and give it a try, Kieran?
Okay.
So what do you think?
I like it, but...
Fantastic. Great to hear your opinion, Kieran. Unfortunately, the light version is generally kind of restricted, so you won't have all the functionality of the final software. So if you want to avoid paying hundreds for your DAW, there is an option that we haven't discussed yet. Reaper!
But I'm religious. Will using Reaper harm my chances of achieving eternal happiness?
Don't worry, Kieran. Reaper is simply the name for a fully fledged DAW.
Thank for that.
And the cool thing is, the company that make it, Cocos, allow you to test it out for as long as you need until you're happy with it, then paying the $60 license fee when you're ready. So that's a good choice if you're looking to start out cheaply. If you do have a bit of money to spend, it really depends what you want as to which software you should buy. For electronic musicians, I recommend Reason. I do the vast majority of my tutorials with it, so that's a plus if you enjoy listening to obnoxious British people making music-related puns while you're learning. But if you're thinking about taking your electronic act on the road, Ableton Live is worth a look. If you're recording live instruments or want plugins, since Reason doesn't have that option, to be honest, Reaper is as good a place to start as any, unless you can spring for Logic if you have a Mac, or Pro Tools if you have a PC and several grand spare. In my opinion, Logic is more for musicians, whereas Pro Tools is more for technicians, though you'll no doubt get used to whatever you use. Pro Tools does have a fantastically fast workflow once you get your head around it. All that said, I've used Cubase, Sonar and briefly Nuendo, and all three of those seem pretty good, so if Reaper isn't your cup of tea, then take a look at those. But let's make this absolutely clear. There is no DAW that sounds any better than any other DAW. You can make professional sounding tracks in all the DAWs I've mentioned, they just have different workflows. So what do you want to try then, Kieran?
I think I'll go for Reaper.
Good choice, so let's tally that on the budget. $60 is just under £40, so let's round that up. If we have any money left over, we can go to the pound shop and buy some paper plates and blue tack and write Kieran's Studio Keep Out and stick it to your door for that professional touch. So Kieran, how does that tally up on our budget?
The budget comes to about £189.
And our super budget?
That would be £129.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have our software and our sound card. If you like this video, hit like, then join me tomorrow for day 4, where we're going to take a look at microphones so we can actually put all this stuff to the test. Doodle pip.
Bye.
Dave's awesome, woo! If you have really low self-esteem,
Dave ate wangs.
it's not helping my self-esteem.
Chicken wangs.
Pro Tools and Logic are generally considered as industry standard by most professionals. You said that.
Sometimes when I wake up I don't want to get out of bed for a while. Sometimes I don't feel like cooking, so I just make some beans on toast. Sometimes I wake up and I can't be bothered to have a shower, so I don't for a couple of hours. I just have messy hair for quite a while. Doesn't really bother me.